Rider Disease and Melissa Fisher and councillors Dave Parkins and Bernard Dawson are subbing for those.
I'm making note that Dom Allen is not here. Any declarations of interest or dispensations from anybody? No. And minutes of the last meeting. To submit minutes to the Special Scrutiny Committee held on the 19th of December 2023 for approval as a correct record. Are there any comments on the minutes? No? No. So I will move the minutes as approved as outlined. Can I have a seconder and all those in favour? Have a seconder for the minutes of the last meeting, those that were here. No. No. Thank you. All those in favour? Yeah. So just the one item today on the agenda, which is the Levelling Up funded projects updates. There's no point in me waffling on because I know Steve Riley and Councillor Eunice have lots to get through. So I'll hand over to yourselves, and if you provide us an update, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I think I'll invite Steve in a minute, but you've got the report in front of you. That's pretty much the very up to date, up to today. But we're happy to discuss and answer questions. But I would like to invite Steve Riley to give a bit of a background to the report as well. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Eunice. As you said there, I've set everything out in the report for you to look through. It goes through all the council's projects on the lough, so Market Chambers, Burton's Chambers and the Market Hall. Gives it a bit of an update on where we are with CPO. This is the most up-to-date information that I've got to present. If it's not in here, there's nothing else to sort of to announce to Scrutiny. I'd just like to point out that there is this Getting Connected event, which is this Friday, which has been promoted heavily by the council and Morgan Sindall, and that is specifically directed at subcontractor suppliers, social enterprises who want to get involved in the lough projects. I believe last week there was over 160 people registered to attend, and this is on the back of a online event that was hosted by the council's economic development manager. I think that was last week, and Morgan Sindall were also on that, just explaining a bit of what they're doing in the town centre. I understand there was 50 people registered to do that online one. So the message has been sort of widely publicised that if you want to be involved, want to know more, there's the online event, and now there's the face-to-face event in Accrington Town Hall this Friday. So there are representatives from Morgan Sindall as well as the project management team for the lough going to be in attendance there to ask any questions. So hopefully, you know, you'll have read the report. I mean, on site, you'll have seen the market traders are all in the market cabins. The initial signage has been placed on the cabins. The delay with that is physically the weather. So the amount of rain that we've had not had a dry day to stick the signage on, and then we've gone through a cold spell where the glue didn't set. So this has just carried on for about 3 weeks. But the first lot's on. I believe there's another. Some of the market maps are going on tomorrow, and then we'll progress over the next couple of weeks with the remaining wraps, which is to the rears of the cabins, just to brighten them up. So that's that. The canopies are due to start being erected next Tuesday, the 11th. So again, that's in place. That will happen. I don't know how long that will take. Again, dependent on weather. If it's a nice sunny day like this, they'll whip through them. If it's heavily raining, it's not going to be as quick. So we're hoping to have most things done for the opening event, which is on the 16th, which as portfolio holder, Councillor Eunice is going to attend. And there's a family fun event day in the town centre to encourage people to come and look at the market again and spend the day around the town centre, hopefully purchasing some goods from the market traders and also the wider traders in Accrington town centre. So that's really it in a nutshell for the LUF funding. It's progressing. One thing you will have noticed is we started on the demolition on the pavilion, so all the slates have gone, and I believe there's some big machines coming this week to start dismantling the actual physical structure.
They're doing it now.
Yeah.
Right, so again that's in progress, that's the first real start. Surveys are continuing internally before they start on the internal ones. We've got planning permission for Burton's, Chambers, Market Chambers, the Market Decant, the planning application and list of building consent application is going to planning committee in this month, so I think it's a couple of weeks away, and hopefully the decision will be on that, and then we've got everything that they need in place to start some of these internal works with the relevant permissions. Just to go on to sort of what they'll be doing in the next stage of, which is REBA stage 4, it's set out in the report there. So they will be commencing the enabling works, which is what you can see on there. They'll be stripping out of the buildings. There's planning permission been granted for the market hall. That will be the next big one where we'll start some works in there. Again, there's a huge amount of works in the market hall in stripping out what we need to take out of there before you can start redeveloping the internal. So big projects will be commencing. The architectural engineering designs are being taken to the next stage, which allows the contractor to price and us to secure that final price of the development. We're continuing to secure the properties and the vacant possessions. So I think I've said in there that there's another freehold acquisition to Market Chambers going to be taking place early March, probably in the next week or so, and that just leaves one freehold interest in Market Chambers. They've got a solicitor and a valuer engaged, and we'll be then discussing heads of terms with that final freehold ownership. So again, everything's coming together, I think, from the council point of view. People see one of the leaseholders is still in Burton's Chambers. They are having discussions with the relevant owner of a property in the town centre to relocate, so that's still ongoing, and they're actively engaged in that, so shouldn't be any issues with that. It's just taken a little longer than we would have liked. So yeah, going really well. Leaseholders in Market Chambers, sorry I'm switching, but freeholders in Market Chambers, again, having discussions with us and are willing to work with the council to provide vacant possession when the council requires it. So that's really good news as well on that. So just a couple of other points to note in the report is the long-term plans for town funds, which council secured, which was another 20 million of an endowment style funding, and that's to be spent over a 10-year period starting from April this year. To access that funding, we've had to set up a town board, which we already have in place, so we've just reviewed the membership on that board. and its terms and terms of reference. They were all signed off by the board last week, so we'll be submitting them to DLUC to sort of get ahead of the game. Really, that's supposed to be submitted by the 1st of April, but we think when we submit it this week, we'll be the first 155 that's actually got all that in place. So again, that allows us to draw down some of the funding for next year. We'll then start a process of consultation and polling to understand what people would like to see in a town centre as we move into spending that funding. We're already doing a town centre master plan, so that will feed into this process as well, and we'll have suggestions from residents and local businesses on the existing TSIP, and we'll be reviewing that to make sure that that's actually fit for purpose over the next 10 years for the long-term plans. And that will all come together probably by well, it will have to come together for the 1st of August when we have to submit our spending plan for the next 3 years of the long-term funds, and then there'll be a longer strategic plan over the next 5 years. So that's how the government want it set out. So a short 3-year plan of what you think you're going to do, and then a longer 5-year plus plan. So nothing's agreed yet. That is all to be worked on. Lots of consultation, lots of polling, lots of drop-in sessions, no doubt, for businesses, residents to have their say on what they think the council should be spending that money on. So, plenty to do, quite exciting, and the city today, I think, knowing we don't know what that is yet, it's going to be developed over the next 3 to 4 months. And again, it will change because we can't make long-term plans for 10 years today, because things will change over the next 2, 3, 4 years. So it's just having an idea of what themes that we'd like to spend on, and that may change. And we wouldn't recognise that whilst it's a long-term plan funding project, you can't do all that for 10 years today. Things do change, and we've accepted that. But and this is why we just want the high level sort of where do you think we're going to be spending money on.
Brilliant, thank you. Do we have any questions from anybody? Councillor Parkins?
Thanks, yeah, Mr. Alley. I think when we give planning permission for the outside market to be demolished, what they're doing now, correct me if I'm wrong, we only give planning permission for half of it, then we up to the middle door of the market hall.
No, it was for pavilions on Peel Street.
All the right to the top.
Yeah, the remaining one opposite Wilco's is the one that was is not.
So I had a vision of car parking halfway kind of thing, if you would. No. And the slates what they took off. What's happened to those?
So the contractor has an internal recycling rate for their project. So it's very impressive. They say it's 99% recycled or diverted from landfill. So the only bits that they can't do is if there's anything like asbestos or anything that has fire retardant, which is you can't then recycle the wood as easy, and that's their organisation policy. It's not something for Hyndburn. That's what they do daily.
So we don't get any money back off that, you know?
No.
It's a good towel then, they're good towels.
The costs, believe it or not, the cost of taking them off probably outweigh what you would get from them.
Right. Yeah, thank you.
Councillor Dawson?
Just trying to ask you about what are the rules now, Steve, about cars and all sorts of vehicles on outside Market Hill now with all these units there. I mean, it was difficult enough before, wasn't it? I know we had these studs on the floor, didn't we? But where are they supposed to go now? And in terms, there's going to be, also Market Hill, so on the Market Hill as well, it's going to be more traffic coming around there, isn't it? I know you've got the police around there as well, haven't you? But where are they supposed to draw the traffic?
So the studs on the floor, just to clarify, that is nothing to do with the highways. That's to actually demarcate the council's land.
Yeah.
So that just sets out what is Hyndburn Council land and then what is LCC. land, so it's not a highway studs. There's the only increase in traffic at the moment is the contractor. The same market traders use the same service yard and go across the square as before. However, once the pavilions are down, that is going to be the contractor's compound, so that's where they'll put their cabins and they'll put their parking, and that's where they'll offload materials and things like that. So we've sort of spoke internally about reinforcing the message to traders that it's not a place where you can park your car on the market, on the town square. If you need to unload, you go into the service yard like you've been doing for however many years, and then you move your goods from there to the cabins, rather than moving your goods inside the market hall.
And is there some restrictions on when they can? I mean, there's less room now, obviously, isn't there, on outside market hall with those units, you know. So,
But
it's this thing where you've got a lot of people mingling about, shopping and what have you, and traffic coming up and down, isn't it? You know, I know traffic used to be before, but it was bigger space, wasn't it? You know.
yeah, the police I've got an email confirming they've advised their staff again about not speeding and taking your time across there. The market manager's going to do a letter to all the traders, reminding them of the rules, and nothing's really changed on the service yard. It's only 45 minutes to unload and off and load, and then you need to park your car wherever you park your car before.
Yeah. I don't understand what you're saying, but once they start progressing on it, it'd be better. But the meantime, there's still traffic coming on and off, isn't there? I know it's inevitable, because you know, there's police around there, isn't there? You know, even though we're not using the market hall now, but you know, it just bothers you a bit, you know, seeing traffic and a lot of people walking about, doesn't it?
So they've demarcated with those concrete protections. We've got walkway through the actual cabins themselves, so if actually, the safest way is to actually walk between the cabins, that encourages people to shop as well.
And there's those boulders that have been put there, like you just mentioned, yeah, that's a good idea, yeah, thanks, Steve.
I'll just come travel a bit real quick, should I hand up first?
Well, I'm hearing that there's still problems for people parking in Accrington Centre. I don't know why there should be, because they're not in the shops, these people, so are they in the businesses? I really don't know, but do we have anything that directs them towards the Arndale Centre for parking, or is that not something we would encourage now?
Yeah,
I know it's
signs are
difficult,
still
it can
there.
be difficult parking in there, because people are, and have been for some time, frightened to death of parking in there, but it's the right thing we can do.
It's not a council car park, so there's nothing we can do from that point of view, but the signs are still up, as they've always been, showing people that the Arndale was a car park.
Nobody can speak to them about the machine they've got that gives people false accounts, doesn't register the numbers properly.
That's not something that's down to the council. It's a private car park. Just like our land is from a council point of view, it's the council car park.
But if people are going away from the town because they can't park, is that not anything to do with the council? Make a point to them, perhaps?
Well, ultimately, part of this project is to create more parking in front of the market hall. So that hopefully will alleviate some of it. But I don't know who parks in the town centre, whether it's just all the business people.
It's difficult to know.
Yeah, I mean personally, if I drive into the town centre, I've always found somewhere on the street that I can park.
Just to come in on this, one of the recommendations that we made last year to LCC was to review the parking times. I know that was one that a lot of the members wanted. I believe they are actually reviewing that now. One thing that also came out of that meeting was for Hyman Borough Council to remove parking restrictions from its own car parks. So now no one will ever get a ticket on them car parks. You can, in theory, park 24/7 non-stop. So obviously it'll be good, probably speaking to the social media person at the council, to obviously direct people to those parking, the Hamburg Council's own parking for obviously future reference, and that obviously will alleviate a lot of people. I know they don't get full at all, maybe one year shop centre like, but I know the other ones don't get full up at Eastgate and stuff, so obviously that avoids the Arndale.
Yeah, that's away from the town centre for a lot of people.
But yeah, some
People
people
complained about the bus station being a long way away, didn't they? I don't believe it is, but again, so that Eastgate would be further.
But obviously the on-street parking is being reviewed, so.
Yeah.
Let's come over to Mark Roof, Councillor Roof.
Thank you. Just a question about, there's been some very successful events around the centre of the town. You know, we had the Soapbox Challenge and eco-fests and food festivals. How does that fit in the way that this is going to work with such a large part of the centre of Accrington being involved in building work? Are those things going to...
They will continue, they'll just be in different locations.
Right.
So they'll be used in other areas of the town centre, Broadway, Warner Street, those other areas.
Right.
The event organisers have requested that they want to put them on again, so
That's good.
all I can say is that they will be going ahead, just in a different
So much
location.
challenge afterwards down Railway Road, I think.
Might be a bit too much. The reason why I asked that question is because they have proved to be successful and very popular, and we don't want to lose that momentum.
Yeah, and they will be putting them on again, just be
That's
different
great. That's great
locations.
news. Thank you.
Just on that as well, I know there are events that the council are organising, can't remember her name, sorry, through like the Leisure Trust and everything. Might be, I want to call them the French drummers, but I know it went to French drummers. There are also more events that are being organised in the centre, so they'll be hopefully as popular as well.
That's good.
She?
I think we mentioned this about 3-4 meetings ago. The Eastgate car park opposite Iceland, there's no sign up there saying parking or no parking. People are parking there, and you're right, they're parking there all day. But it's something that we mentioned, there might be a sign there to say how much time they can park there. Because people are doing what you said, they're parking there all day and they don't realise, and whether they come back or not, and I think it's the same at the bottom of the job centre.
Yeah.
There's no sign there saying it's all day parking or free parking.
We'll chase it up, yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, chase it.
Do you mean the council, not the one
Council.
leading the outside shops, which is the one opposite?
Opposite, opposite, that one where you could park on the street.
That's the one that when Dave turned the crowd and he's supposed to be
Yeah.
about the restrictions.
Yeah.
I actually asked Dave Turner, actually, he said it's all day parking hours that will be signed down. Again, old Charlie Brown, you mean?
Yeah. It'd help just to get a sign there.
Yeah, just to confirm.
Yeah, please, yeah.
One question I do have, obviously you mentioned having the map put on the centre where obviously all the businesses are and the cabins. Does that include like the businesses which have gone into the arcade and stuff? That's good then, because I only remember because I've actually walked through today and did the full run, and the arcade's full life for once now. It's actually quite brilliant. It's actually used some of the shops in there today and on the square. And I know one person was actually asking where a shop had gone, and it was in the arcade. So it'd be obviously good to get them included. Obviously they've also moved from the market, so it's good that was.
Did he call in our office?
I saw Kimberley. I didn't call it, no.
On that point, if I can come in here, there are some very interesting, innovative shops that have arrived in the arcade, and that's looking quite healthy. So I hope they will, be recognised on this.
Yeah, like I said, we've got a full map going, that'd be
Yeah.
quite good, yeah.
But it's all pre-literature about the move.
Yeah.
So it's all out there. People are aware of what is gone.
There's a good cafe in there, and they're selling ripe sausages now, and what have you. Yeah.
Councillor
Can I
Dawson?
just ask Steve about you mentioned about the weather and the units obviously, but is the problems we had the other week when it were pouring down and going in is that coming to an end then in terms, you mentioned the canopies and so on, didn't you?
Can't say the weather's going to come to an end.
Not the weather coming to an end, the problems of it, yeah.
I'm not that good, all I can say.
I assume we're
is
going to
that,
get more rain sometime,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, all I can say is that they're starting to erect the canopies next Tuesday.
Yeah, you felt sorry for him, didn't you? Because he was blowing them, weren't it? You know, and I know we don't get it all the time, but you know, yeah.
Councillor Parkins?
Will the cannabis cover?
They're not meeting, but they're not so far off.
Right,
And they've got, they're automatic, so you don't have to pull them out manually, but they automatically go back if the wind reaches a certain speed to protect them.
so they're individual to every unit.
Any more questions from anybody? I think that wraps it up then, to be honest, for that. It's thank you for the report from both yourselves. It's quite informative. It's good to see, obviously, that we're making progress and some positive progress as well. And it's, like I said, it's, I'll be honest with you, it's very rare we use market up, there's nothing we needed in there for me, but today when I went through the report, it's quite nice to see everything else and visible, and you actually look a bit more, don't you?
Chair, very pleasant meeting, thank you for that. I just wanted to mention a couple of things about the traders. You've probably been there yourself and had a look at them, and I spoke to them the other day with every one of them, more or less, one or two wasn't there. And the comments coming from them are very, very pleased. Most of them said they're very busy. Some of them even said they never this kind of turnover, they never had this before. And one trader was saying, he said deliberately he went to Bury Market and he said, we're better here. And I mean, that was very, very pleasing. And we went to one or two other traders. They said, well, we got a key, we can open any time we want, really, you know, during day, and trade extra days if they need to. And so, you know, 3 days, 5 days, they can do 5 days now. So they're very, very, you know, they're very optimistic and they're very happy. And I spoke to most of them, as for example, Fishmonger, you know, the fish stall. I was very happy to hear the history, 148 years, family being in the trade. And they made a little video of, and yes, they're very happy. And I think the work's taking place around it makes it that this is actually really happening. People thought that, you know, whether we're going to get it done or not. So yes, there are canopies is we've been pushing really. Canopies were originally, when the cabins was originally installed, and then the canopies was going to go in anyway. Not at the same time, because we didn't know how many cabins, you know, we're going to keep and run and operate. So yes, so canopies will be there, and on the 16th, it's going to be a big event. Please, all of you, come up and enjoy it. And yes, and a lot of suggestions came from every one of you, and we try to improve as much as we can. By the way, the toilets are open on Peel Street as well, so we push for that, because we had, you know, we had people requesting that. So when we're in town centre, where we go for toilets and things like that. So that's something else that obviously in a few weeks' time we'll be upgrading that facility too, for example, baby changing room and etc. But it's up and running, and we push for that. There's many other things happening, but I think this is another article on probably the in cabinet from different things happening in the Scrutiny committee. But yes, I'm very optimistic about the whole thing, and I give credit to all those who supported it, and our officers really worked hard to make this you know, success up to now, and we will carry this forward. I'm very confident that we will deliver this on time if we don't get any big hiccups, which we don't think we will. And I think another report will come into cabinet, and you'll see the next step is our next stage of the progress. So, Chair, thank you very much.
Of all these, can I ask you a quick question? I've all mentioned the traders. Of all the traders who were in the market hall, who wanted to stay either in the units or, like you said, in RJ, have they all found somewhere? Or?
Yes, yes. Every single one of them got where some of they got the cabins they requested, and some of them moved out in the other places.
Yeah.
Yes, apart from one, which they're deciding where, you know, what to do with it, but it's up to them, it's not up to us. We offer them everything we can, but everybody's got their places, and everybody's, you know, that who demanded cabin, or they wanted to move in the other, yeah, so, yeah. It's, I'm glad I was checking in just before coming to meeting. They all got the place. One or two places are just doing a bit of cosmetic work to it, but apart from that, everybody has, whoever asked for been offered a place, and they took it.
Brilliant, thank you for that. Just one last question then, since
Well,
we're
to
closing.
say that there has been a perception out there that some of the stalls are closed or finished. We know that one or two have retired, etc., etc. So it'd be good to put that right with the people out in the town. So I'd just be very glad of any good publicity that's going out about what any shopper. We all like to see new businesses. We all like to see what's happening in the town, lure us in.
Yes, Chair, I think as Steve mentioned, the master plan and some other things in the pipeline, this town will rise, you know, and it will develop to the standard that we, you know, we need it and we want it, and there's a lot of things in pipeline. Very exciting time ahead for us, and you know, together we will make this town as a success. I think it's too long it's been neglected, and it's gone to that. It should never happen, but here we are. We're spending millions of pounds on it. I think it's about 60 to 65 million pounds going into town centre, and with obviously with consultation, with the ideas coming from around the people, the public is putting their input into it. So yes, it'll be a groundbreaking project, and I think it's a milestone for the future of our town.
Brilliant, thank you for that. In that case then, I think that's everything, is it?
Yeah.
So it's, and I think that's it. This is the last meeting before the elections, so I hope you all have fun during the elections. Have a safe drive on and everything, and don't get too caught up in it all. All the best.
Thank you, Chair.